Our two guests are not detestable nor dishonorable, but they're somehow despicable. Old-time companions, often in Annecy for animated reunions, especially when it's about their crazy minions. We are so excited to have with us Chris Meledandri and Kyle Balda for the world premiere of Minions, The Rise of Gru. Gru or Gru, by the way?
Gru.
Gru? How do you say it, Chris?
Gru.
Gru, so it's Gru, okay? Chris and Kyle, you both are regulars on the festival, but meeting Annecy's audience always feel like a first time, doesn't it?
Well, it's very exciting to start the journey of a movie with audience that is just such animation fanatics. That it's the best kickoff you could have. They're a tough audience because they know so much, but they're an audience that loves to celebrate animation.
Right before such an important screening, do you, the producer, have different emotions and expectations than the ones of the director?
I don't think so. I think we both really just want to experience an audience watching the film, and we're hoping that an audience will really enjoy the film.
Yeah, we pour our heart and soul into making the movie, and we hope that people can celebrate with us in the joy that we had in creating it.
So when you're in the room, in the theater, you're watching the audience or the screen?
You know,
how does it go?
There are times when we are making the film and we bring audiences in to watch it during production, where I'd say that Kyle and I are probably watching the audience watch the movie. For me tonight, I'm just going to enjoy the movie.
And also to have the feeling of sharing it, which we've been looking forward to for so long. So it's great to see it also with different eyes, because we've been so close to it this whole time, and now to see it with an audience and to share with them and have the reaction and everything, that's just a completely fresh way to look at it.
Yeah.
How many of you guys are in the room for the screening? Because you were quite a crew when you arrived. How many of you guys are experiencing the same emotions at the same time, like 1 million?
I'm not sure. I think it's maybe about 35 people.
30, yeah.
Would be, yeah, just representing the whole crew, because we have 800, maybe 850 people working in Paris total on all of our films. So it's a small group coming and representing us here.
But you want them to see and experience the Annecy special atmosphere that there's here?
Absolutely, and it's a real treat for them to come and visit the festival, and to be part of an experience like this is something that they treasure.
Mm-hmm. I think that your first time, Chris, in Annecy was with Janet, of course, in 2013 for the number 2 of Despicable Me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this very first meeting with Annecy?
Yes. I think we were more nervous then. It was earlier on in our journey, mm-hmm. and so I know I was more anxious and nervous. I don't want to jinx anything, but I feel very confident tonight. I love the movie that Kyle has directed, and so I feel confident that audiences will also feel the same way.
It's really validating, especially with this audience. I remember this experience on the first Minions film, mm-hmm. when we showed it here, and just how into the movie the audience was. And this audience is especially because these are animators, these are people who understand the craft, and to get that kind of response is really fulfilling.
I'm asking the question to a producer and also to a director, but is Annecy important enough for a movie to put an Easter egg inside it just for the audience? Would you, for example, insert a little plane? Have you ever done that or produced that for Annecy? Maybe that's a secret, but
No, we haven't.
Interesting idea.
We haven't, but it would, the audience would go wild.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe.
they would.
Maybe a rabbit.
A yellow rabbit? We'll see that next year. A question for you, Chris. After such a successful and amazing, not career, but journey, as you say, how do you keep the magic alive when you work on so many projects?
It really comes down to the team that's assembled for each project. They keep the magic alive. You know, maybe I create the stage on which Kyle and a team, for example, with Rise of Gru, can come in and bring their imaginations and craft and artistry. It's really the team that keeps my magic alive in me and keeps me excited. So that's the joy of this. The joy of this for a producer is being surrounded by artists and people of Kyle's, you know, caliber of talent, and that's what the pleasure is.
To assemble
and it's the assembling is great, but then to be part of watching the art of creation. You know, it's the most exciting part for me in making any film is when the characters spring to life. And it is, to me, the closest thing to the creation of life. And I never tire of that. And when you work with somebody like Kyle, the making of the film is filled with surprises and discoveries for me as a producer. And I believe also the audience will share in those discoveries as well. But so the experience that an audience may have in seeing a movie, I get to have that experience over a 3-year period. And what keeps me, you know, just ignited is just all of the discoveries that, you know, when Kyle shows me work along the way, it's joyous.
Whoa. Thank you for this. And Kyle, you had also an incredible journey in animation. And since, if I may say, and since your orientation day, you know that you're a director. Do you miss sometimes the animation department and the other thrills you had, because you had a long career in, in departments?
Yeah.
How do you feel like cut off from this energy or fueled by it?
Definitely fueled by it, and still very connected to animation, because, you know, we're working so closely with the animators and seeing, you know, through the different stages of working in the process of creating these films. Especially at that point, you know, knowing that's when the real life is breathed into the character. So it's in a lot of ways, working on a shot in animation is like the microcosm of working on an entire film. So it's really related.
I want to say one more thing about Kyle, which is that Kyle embodies a person whose curiosity fuels learning all the time. Kyle, for example, when we started, Pierre came to me and told me about Kyle, that he had convinced Kyle to come onto the film. And I had assumed that Kyle would come on as a directing animator. And Kyle was like, no, I don't want to come on as a directing animator. And I was like, I thought I could convince him, because it would be so great for us to have Kyle as a directing animator. Of course I could convince him. And he's like, no, I want to be head of layout. And he wanted to be head of layout because he wanted to learn. And what Kyle is always doing is growing and learning all the time through the process through this creative process. And that's not only energizing for me, it's also energizing for the crew as well.
You made the transition to my next question, so thank you very much. But could you tell to the other how he has been essential in your animation life? Because it seems you've shared a lot of the journey together.
Yeah. Well, for me, I would say that it's that the journey frequently can be very overwhelming, because we find ourselves in places where we're not sure exactly what path we're about to take, and there's a lot of faith that goes on, and that you need to go, okay, I will believe that we'll get there, because it's, as everybody who, loves animation, the process, it's a very iterative process for us. And when it's iterative, that means that the film is alive as you're making it, and it speaks to you, and it gives you challenges that you might not have expected. And there's nobody I'd rather be on that journey with than because he has an inner confidence that knows that we will reach a destination, and he brings not only that centered, kind of grounded feeling to it, but also then you bring this unlimited amount of energy, looking for the best solutions and the best opportunities wherever you find them. He doesn't care where he finds them. He could find them in his heart, or he could find them from somebody who happens to be in the room. He just seeks out the answers constantly and never gives up, never tires, just always keeps going. And thus it brings everybody else along with him, including me.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, you've said it all. And
For my part.
For your part.
Because we were talking about learning earlier, and I can't imagine having had a better mentor than Chris. The amount of that I've learned in the years making these films is just immeasurable, especially in terms of just how to tell a story with emotion, and to just involve the audience in that, and to create the tension, to create the rooting interest, and the things that really speak to an audience and make them like on the edge of their seat and enjoying the show. So thank you for that.
Thank you for saying that.
And thank you for being so frank and sincere. It's beautiful, really. I can hear the crowd like trembling and asking for you guys to go, because this is a premiere after all. Yes. So our little discussion is gonna stop. I'm sorry for this. Last but not least, I would like you to write in French, if possible, a little postcard for our friends of Pierre and Eric.
Okay.
And I know you're not much confident in French, Chris, so maybe Kyle can do the writing and you both will do the signing. And if you have the address of Eric, we're still looking for it.
Okay. Sorry for the sound, trying to get my glasses.
If you want a pen, there are here. And one last question while we do the postcard moment. Where does the Illumination name come from?
The very, very first idea to name the company Illumination came from my son Nicholas, and when he mentioned the word, it just immediately spoke to me, from everything from the idea of light, and I immediately thought of a bulb in an old projector shining light through celluloid, and creating this wonderful image. But I also thought about the journey of discovery that we're all on together, and we search in our own way for truths, And that's something Kyle and I share. And so there are very few things that I'm happier about than that word becoming the symbol for our company, our work. You know, it really fits so well with what ultimately I think we're both about. Yeah.
So let's keep on searching for light, and I'm gonna ask you to do the postcard very quickly because the crowd is like really shouting for you guys.
Thank you so much for talking with us, and we're so thrilled to be here at Annecy at this moment in time, especially, you know, coming out of some difficult years. It's wonderful to be here and part of this celebration of animation.
No, actually, thank you, Chris and Kyle, because it was one of the most sincere and heartwarming moments we've had in this room. So thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Just your autograph, Mr. Meledandri, and then we will let you go to a quite expected world premiere, I think.
Excellent.
We've heard the crowd. We also have the directors of the festival who are pushing us. So thanks a lot, really.